of Central Florida, there is a sanctuary for retired entertainers.
Welcome to Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey Center for Elephant Conservation. We're sitting here in the middle of Polk County, the center of Florida, midway between Tampa and Orlando, on a beautiful 200-acre facility. It's dedicated to the preservation of these Asian elephants and the breed.
This is Icky, and then Alana is the other female over here. They both had calves, so they're part of our breeding program. They were both performers at one time. And they're very gentle, love to be around people. Naturally, you can tell Icky's more food motivated.
Yes.
The 200-acre sanctuary was established in 1995 by Feld Entertainment, who owns and operates the circus.
Mr. Kenneth Feld inherited from his dad, Irvin Feld, a genuine and deep love and appreciation of the Asian elephant.
Irving Feld purchased the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus in 1967. He produced the greatest show on earth, and his son, Kenneth, followed in his footsteps.
So with a deep feeling of gratitude for what the Asian elephant offers people in every city we visit, the Felds decided that they needed to do something just like this place to guarantee a wonderful retirement, and certainly to involve research and reproduction as a means of keeping this species alive on the planet.
Obviously, when the Feld family decided that this was what they were going to do for their family of elephants,
Yes.
Florida was the natural choice, would you say?
We looked at a lot of different property, but in Florida, it's nice because we have kind of that same semi-tropical weather that they would have in Asia. And just the heat and humidity is something that elephants are used to, and their bodies are basically designed to cool themselves down, so they're used to a hot climate. And then, just this facility, and kind of we wanted it in the middle of nowhere, but it seems to be a perfect place for the elephants to come and live out the rest of their lives here.
The circus is highly regulated, not only by the federal government, but also by state and local regulations in every city where they perform. They are subject to unannounced inspections. But Janice says they have nothing to hide.
We try to operate every day with the same high standards, regardless of whether or not an inspection.
Whether they would be here on the grounds or not.
Our standards are way, way above a lot of other places. We have the ability to do that, and we work very hard to maintain that.
In 2015, the Feld Entertainment announced that they are beginning to phase out the elephants from circus performances. They expect to have them all retired and living the good life in Central Florida by 2018. Donte's Den provides a home-like setting and loving care for canine companions who are separated from their owners for a variety of reasons. Our state-of-the-art campus is unlike any other and is expertly designed for canine well-being. Built on 50 acres of pristine Florida countryside, Donte's Den is designed to be harmonious with its natural setting, with pine forest trails and spacious meadows. The perfect place for dogs to play, run, swim, and enjoy just being a dog. Donte's Den comfortably accommodates 100 dogs. Dogs who have become homeless for several reasons. Their owner has passed away, entered a living care facility, or are deployed for military service. Abandoned dogs also have a temporary home, while we help them find a loving, forever home. Our main campus includes home-like dens, indoor and outdoor runs, a grooming center, and an on-site veterinary hospital with full medical services available. Our bone-shaped hydrotherapy pool provides treatment for chronic conditions, post-operative recovery, and pre-operative or general fitness, besides being hours of fun for our water-loving dogs.
It's 4:30 a.m. from Fox 35. This is Good Day Orlando.
And right now at Good Day Orlando, a 4th of July celebration gone wrong. Now 2 men are waking up in hospital beds. Plus, the George Zimmerman trial resumes this morning. We're going to tell you who prosecutors are expected to call to the witness stand before resting its case. And the top destination in the country to retire, it is right here in Central Florida. We'll tell you where some folks say the best place to spend your golden years would be. Hi, everybody. Good morning. It is Friday, July 5th. Hope you had a good 4th. Of course, for a number of people, it is back to work today, and including Jamie and I, who were at work yesterday as well.
It never ended, man.
It never did.
Or in full weather in just a bit. Ryan, over to you now.
Right, Jamie, thanks. It was great. Saw the whole show and no traffic there as well. Unfortunately, not all safety, though, yesterday. Developing this morning, 2 people seriously injured. This one, fireworks went off at a dock. This happened in Brevard County, this accident on US 1 and Palm Shores. Now, both victims were airlifted to the hospital. Their names and conditions have not been released at this time. And, of course, today the George Zimmerman trial is going to resume after a day off yesterday. The prosecution now expected to call its final witnesses and then rest its case. The case took, of course, that day off for the holiday. And on Wednesday, a state CSI tech took the stand and talked about the DNA evidence that was found at the scene. Fox 35 legal analyst Diana Tennis and also Larry speaking with Fox 35's Bob Fryer last night about what we can expect today.
We're going to get the medical examiner who's going to talk about the cause of death and the identification of Trayvon Martin. And then we're going to have that very emotional, meaningful, impactful Sabrina Fulton testimony about that being Trayvon Martin's voice screaming for help.
Larry, don't you think that's going to come at the end because the prosecutors want that to be the last thing that happens so the jury can mull that over for the whole weekend?
I think that's exactly how the state will want to end their case. They've gotten through all the dry testimony last week, and now they're going to wrap up with the medical examiner and then hit it out of the park, hopefully, with Sabrina Fulton's testimony and let the jury consider that for as long as possible before the defense case starts.
And it will be interesting to watch the cross-examination for the defense if that does happen. Of course, you can count on the live gavel-to-gavel coverage starting at 8:30 a.m. today. And just keep in mind, you can always go to ZimmermanTrialOnFox.com for the very latest. Well, state troopers say an Orlando toddler has now died after being run over by a pickup truck driven by his father. Kimberly Wiggins has more on what appears to be just a tragic accident.
FHP is still investigating, but it doesn't look like charges will be filed against the father. FHP says this all happened at 12:40 yesterday afternoon on Old Oak Tree Court in Orlando. Investigators say Jose Manuel Cruz was in his GMC utility truck in his driveway when the 52-year-old began driving, but forgot something and backed up his truck. The babysitter, a teenager, was in the house at the time there to watch the toddler, but we're told somehow the little guy got out of the house on his own. Troopers say Cruz ran over his son, Prince.
The father did not even realize that he had run over something and continued to back up. We believe both tires ran over the child.
The toddler was pronounced dead at the scene. Reporting from the newsroom, Kimberly Wiggins, Fox 35 News.
What a sad story. Well, happening this morning at Brevard County now, deputies investigating what happened to 2 people. They were found dead in a home in Canaveral Groves community. Officials saying that the SWAT team was called out to the place on Blairwood Court. This was around 7:30. It's still too early to determine if this was a murder or suicide, they say. Deputies do not believe a suspect, though, is on the run right now. And more than 100,000 race fans, of course, in Daytona Beach this weekend. It is the Coke Zero 400. Today, though, fans will gather for the Subway Firecracker 500. Now, this video of last year's race, Kurt Busch will attempt to defend his title as champion of the annual July race. The drivers will take off now from the 100-lap race tonight at 7:30. The Subway Firecracker 250, also the first Dash for Cash race, which gives the top Nationwide Series drivers a chance to win $100,000 in bonuses. And yesterday, race fans enjoyed the 4th of July at the track. Pretty good way to spend it there as well. The drivers took turns taking practice laps there. You can see all the decorations. They were also focused on determining just how well these cars will handle on the hot summer asphalt. But race teams did take the time, though, to put some patriotic paint on their rides in honor of the holiday yesterday. And the Daytona International Speedway breaking ground today on a new multi-million-dollar expansion. A big day there as track owners say the renovations will make the complex more comfortable for the fans. And it's not just the seats that are improving. In fact, the $375 million expansion also includes plenty of modern amenities, including 40 escalators, also neighborhoods-themed restaurants with seating, a bar, and a terrace.
Our fans in NASCAR and that come here to Daytona are the very best in all of sports, and they deserve the best and expect that.
And construction is going to begin after the Coke Zero 400. It will bring in about 4,000 jobs to Daytona. That project is expected to be complete by 2016 there at the Speedway. Well, the push to buy goods made in America getting a local boost. Now, we're going to introduce you to a man who hopes that his website is going to change the way that you shop. And there's some troubling news on the failing health of Nelson Mandela. We're going to have the latest on his condition coming up after the break. It is 4:37 on this 5th of July. Stay with us. You're watching Good Day.
From Fox 35, this is Good Day Orlando.
And right now on Good Day Orlando, people taking to the streets in protest of the George Zimmerman verdict. So what's the next now for the former Neighborhood Watch captain?
It's not over until justice is served.
Thousands calling for justice against George Zimmerman, who they are now calling on to take action.
And the pain at the pump, is it about to get worse? How much you can expect now to pay the next time that you fill up. Hi, everybody. Good morning. 4:30. Hope you had a good weekend. It is Monday, July 14th. I'm Ronnie Elijah.
And I'm Lou Anseral. So nice to have you along on this Monday morning. We're going to get to all those stories in just a minute, but first let's get a check on our forecast with Liz Horton. Good morning, Liz.
Good morning.
Liz, thank you. Well, the trial has ended. George Zimmerman is now free, but this case is far from over.
Yeah, so much more to go on this, including a federal civil rights investigation that is now getting started. The Justice Department says it will look into whether George Zimmerman violated Trayvon Martin's civil rights. Essentially, if part of this was a hate case, he could also follow civil lawsuits from Trayvon Martin's family, which means more legal battles could still be ahead for George Zimmerman.
And in the meantime, protesters both here and all across the country are taking to the streets.
Yeah, they're rallying against the acquittal that came in over the weekend. Dozens of people gathering last night at Fort Mellon Park, right on the lake in Sanford, to protest the not guilty verdict. Many were members also of the Coalition of Justice for Trayvon. And a much smaller group of about a dozen protesters gathering near the Seminole County Courthouse. They held up signs as cars drove past.
And take a look at this. Much larger crowds outside the state of Florida. A giant crowd gathered in New York's Times Square last night, many holding signs and chanting Trayvon's name. A very large police presence was at this Manhattan rally. And in Los Angeles, protesters blocking the 10 freeway there. Police had to break up this demonstration. There were even reports police shot rubber bullets into the crowd. And this was a very active scene yesterday afternoon in San Francisco. Hundreds of people marching through the streets there. Some carried signs that said, "Justice for Trayvon, no justice, no peace."
Not one more! Justice for Trayvon! Not one more!
And in Chicago, protesters there marched up Michigan Avenue, then made their way to Daley Plaza to protest Saturday night's verdict. Police estimate the crowd at about 400 people.
Well, the president released a statement in response to the Zimmerman verdict, which says in part we should ask ourselves if we're doing all we can to widen the circle of compassion and understanding in our communities. We should ask ourselves if we're doing all we can to stem the tide of gun violence that claims too many lives across the country on a daily basis. We should ask ourselves as individuals and as a society how we can prevent future tragedies like this as citizens. That's a job for all of us. That's the way to honor Trayvon Martin. Well, plenty of celebrities, of course, weighing in on the verdict as well. The hashtag #NoJustice was trending on Twitter yesterday, with everyone from Miley Cyrus to Kim Kardashian weighing in on that topic. Pop star Beyonce also holding a moment of silence Saturday night at her concert in Nashville after the verdict was read. She then sang the chorus of "I Will Always Love You," transitioning into her hit Halo. The NAACP calling for civil rights charges now to be filed against George Zimmerman.
Yeah, the petition getting so much support, their website actually crashed yesterday morning. This morning, hundreds of thousands of people have already signed the petition on moveon.org. The organization, which happens to be hosting its annual convention in Orlando this week, is pledging to fight for the removal of stand your ground laws in every state. They say they won't rest until racial profiling in all its forms is outlawed.
So we have to get those signatures and present those to the Department of Justice to let them know that we also have outside citizens who want to see Trayvon Martin justice brought also.
Reverend Al Sharpton is expected to speak at the convention on Wednesday.
And some breaking news this morning. Ormond Beach police have now issued an Amber Alert for 28-year-old Angela Pastorino and her two daughters. Now, the woman's family says she's suffering from depression and told a relative in New Jersey that she planned to kill the two girls, ages 7 and 9. Now, the three were reported as being in a silver 2001 Saturn four-door car with a Florida tag, and you can see that tag 230-ITM. Anyone with information is asked to call police right away. Well, it's 4:38, and if you're watching the Royal Baby Watch, it is on high alert at this time.
It sure is. The latest on the next royal heir straight ahead.
Plus, the popular television star found dead in his hotel room. The new details now as we learn more this morning when Good Day Orlando continues on this Monday. We'll be right back. Well, we got some issues here. I-4 at State Route 46 there, just on the north side of downtown there in Seminole County, looking at 2 lanes blocked there. I-4 westbound lanes this morning. Going to watch out for that.
Yeah, it looks like traffic is already backing up a little bit. So as soon as we get some more people on the roads, it's definitely going to get a little congested unless they clear it up in time. But we'll keep you posted definitely here on Good Day Orlando.
Liz has got her eye on that. Right now, let's catch up on our top stories this morning, starting with the man who broke the story of the NSA's surveillance, now saying whistleblower Edward Snowden has more information on the agency.
Yeah, Guardian reporter Glenn Greenwald tells the Associated Press that Snowden has, quote, very specific blueprints on how the NSA works. The thousands of documents are basically an instruction manual for how the NSA is built. Greenwald says Snowden has insisted those details not be made public. The whistleblower is currently seeking asylum in Russia. And a former South African president is predicting Nelson Mandela could be going home from the hospital very soon. The apartheid leader has been hospitalized for more than a month for a reoccurring lung infection. The most recent official update was that Mandela was in critical but stable condition.
An autopsy taking place this morning for the Glee star found dead in his hotel room over the weekend. Corey Monteith had battled addiction for his teenage years as well, though police are not saying if that had anything to do with his death. Monteith was found dead on Saturday. Police say there is no indication right now of foul play. Well, taxpayers paying for unserved meals to prisoners.
Yeah, more on the accusations against a private food vendor. And Kate Middleton expected to give birth any day now. We're going to tell you where her royal hubby spent his weekend. Coming up after this quick break. 4:42 is now your time on this Monday morning.